All right. All right. Hi, everybody. We are live. My name is Mia Park. Welcome to In Response Interviews with Intriguing Internalizers. And I am based in Chicago, Illinois, doing these interviews with really cool, super interesting people from all over the world, like over a dozen countries. And I did this interview series as part of my own internal response to this really intense world. To put context to
Mm.
this, it is September 5th, 2020. We're still in the middle of a world health pandemic, COVID-19. And especially in America, and especially in the big American cities, we're dealing with a pandemic of racial injustice. And today's very special guest is the just glowing, glorious Jeanne Heileman, who's in Los
Oh,
Angeles. Hi, Jeanne.
yes. Hi, Mia. So good to see you.
Hi,
What
you
an
too,
honor to
dear.
be here. Thank you so much. I'm
Oh
really
my
touched.
gosh. It's
Oh,
yeah, you're great. So let me tell you all about Jeanne. Jeanne is a former actress, so her and I can relate on that thespian level. Whee! Also, you spent time in Chicago doing
I
theater there.
did 7 years.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, you paid
And
your
I
dues.
went to Columbia College. I got my
Oh,
master's there. I'm very
that-
proud.
that's right.
Yeah.
And she's now in Los Angeles, and Jeanne has been just one of these kind of like slow and steady, making a
Mhm.
huge difference, teaching so many people yoga that is authentic to her, that she embodies for years. So
Mhm.
in the yoga world, we have these things called yoga celebrities, which are like the magazine cover people and sponsored with clothes and mats, and they're beautiful doing dramatic poses. I think, Jeanne, you have always been even deeper than some of those yoga celebrities. Just like,
Mhm.
again, one of these kind of like quiet warriors, just doing your thing authentically. And you don't need to be on the cover of a magazine or, some kind of ad in Instagram to really be bringing authentic teaching to you out to the masses. So thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that's a really sweet way of putting it. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, Jean, is there anything else you want people to know about you?
Let's see. I've been practicing yoga for about 34 years, and I spent many years in Chicago studying, and I've been teaching for about over 24 years. And through the journey, I they call me a founder of what is called Tantra Flow Yoga, and it's blending the alignment of asana. I love asana, and some people who are in, me and I, we both met in through yoga, and some people in our community were not. It didn't seem as supportive of asana, but I was a dancer and I love to move my body. So I'm very strong about alignment with Iyengar and Ashtanga, the flow concept. But weaving, and let's not take the word but, and weaving the amazing stuff that we learn from our teachers of how to put pranayama in the practice, not separate, how to harness your mind while you're in the practice, therefore not necessarily needing a cool playlist, which I don't say playlists are bad, but let's not be married to them. And so I've created this, helping people. Just my passion is through moving your body and healing your body and finding alignment with your body, because I have a big scoliosis. So every day in the mat is more about coming back to center for me. It's not about banging out certain postures or accomplishing something. It's come back to center. But it's also discovering that there's a whole world inside. And so that's what Tantra Flow Yoga does. And my trainings teach that as well. So that's what I'd add.
Oh, thanks. I just want to, for the layperson, you mentioned pranayama, and can you
Oh,
explain to
thank you.
people who don't know what that means?
Yes, thank you, sweetie. So pranayama, the simple answer is breathing practices and breathing techniques, which right now, as we're filming, we're still in the middle of a coronavirus epidemic. And today, I am a bit of a news junkie. Today released that the forecast that it will probably increase in the fall and be even heavier. And one of the things that they're saying is we need a strong respiratory system. So now all of a sudden, everybody's discovering the concept of breathing. And ancient yogis, that's what it was. The poses actually came later. So it's learning how to work with breath. The actual translation is about extension of the energy that you get with your breath. with the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, there's an energy that rides on the surface, and it's working with in gathering that energy, building it, increasing it, while also increasing your oxygen content in your bloodstream.
Thank you for that. That's
Was
great.
that
And
okay?
also, that is fantastic, girl. And also for the people who like to plug in the energetics and esoterics, we could go on and on about that, but we're keeping it media. We'll keep it media
Yeah.
level for
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So two more questions for you
Sure.
first.
I
Can
move
you let
around,
us,
sorry.
you're mover and shaker, that's why. Can you to let us know what the external outside world looks like for you now, and then let us know what your internal deep dive world is doing in response to that.
To this current present moment, I am imagining. Yeah. External world, immediately, I'm looking out the window at a lovely balcony, and it's a beautiful day. Right now, it's beautiful. There isn't a single cloud in the sky. Trees are filled. And forecast is it's going to be blimey hot and really awful. And there's worry about, people struggling with the heat. So it's a dichotomy. It's like it's beautiful and there's concern and trouble. Further out, I'm in Los Angeles, where COVID numbers are still climbing, and where we do have a lot of, we just had a killing just this week of a Black man by police. And so there's a lot of social unrest just right here. And I'm in a neighborhood of Hollywood that is very diverse, let's say. So my world is not just white. My world is diverse. So the external world is concerning, but I guess, yeah. So, and especially when I listen to the news, as I mentioned, I'm a news junkie. There's a lot of fear. I would say my internal world, aware of the fear, and especially it's about the unknown. My internal world chooses, I have some unknown and fear. I mean, I have no idea what's going on. And, the large company that I work with, sometimes very closely, sometimes peripherally, they just sent out an email yesterday that said they're closing their studios for outside, for classes. But it was ambiguous. So a lot of us are wondering, is this the end of a huge era? So there's a lot of unknown. But I guess I'll get to the answer, I think, where we're going eventually. When all of this happened and started to happen, March, everybody started quarantining. I just went, oh my God, this is it. It's time to do inner work. It's time to put a stop on whatever our career, our ambition. And nature has basically asked everyone to stop if we're willing to, and to go inward. And we're hearing this all the time. And people are saying, look at your shadows, do your inner work. But it's like, really? And some of us are like, okay, I did it. I'm done. And we're losing perspective. It's actually, this may, I don't mean to sound insensitive, but it's only been 6 months. And some people are like, how could you say such a thing, Jeanne? 6 months is long, but it's like, we can do this. I mean, worse situations have lasted for years. And we haven't had a historical event in like 100+ years. So my internal world is hopeful. Yeah, my internal world is hopeful. I'm choosing to do a lot of inner work, a lot of inner study, and it's hard, but I'm choosing to use I'm trying to constantly, the question is, how are you using your time? Because this will end. And when we come out, how we use our time now is creating what will happen in the future. And so I'm just trying to be on myself with, what are you doing? How are you using your time? Use it wisely, because you're creating your field to be prepared. Because I don't know exactly, I have ideas and intentions, but I can't control or know what's going to happen. But if I prepare my field well, studying with teachers, doing journaling and internal work, meditation, reading scripture, and it's not boring, and resting. I will, whatever nature throws at me, I feel like I'll be more prepared.
That's awesome. That sounds like
I don't know.
resilience. That sounds like a good formula for internal resilience to help yourself cope with the outside world.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out. There's another Mia. You have many fans named Mia. Mia Stram Beckensven says that you're amazing and she hopes your teachings
She's
deep in
from
your heart.
Norway. Mia.
That is great. Thanks, Mia. The Mia. Hey, Mia. From one Mia to another Mia. The Mia's love Jeanne. Everybody named Mia. But so for the lay person, actually, I want to ask you a different question. As yoga teachers that you and I are in this era of virtual connecting with people, how do you respond to this world of trying to impart your advice and teachings in this very digital medium?
Shall I direct the advice to other yoga teachers or to people who take yoga?
To your opinion as a seasoned teacher who's trying to connect personally over online.
Okay. I was just thinking about this morning. I find it kind of, it's just human nature that all of these yoga teachers, so I'm answering a couple of different things. All these yoga teachers who claim to be yogis, we all resisted the change to go online. I can't do it. It just doesn't work. I need to see my students. And it's like, how come we can't handle change? And we have to look at ourselves for that. And we had to learn and grow a new skill. And the capacity to teach online, to stare at a dot on my laptop is different than being in a room for almost 25 years. I walk into a room, I can feel, I've gotten to the point where I don't just see your physical form, I can read your energy form. And I don't teach just to your physical, I teach to your energy. And I start to help align your energy. Well, now I'm like, some people don't even put their screens on.
I know. And
so it's like, how do you work? And so I've had friends say, I can't do this. And I always watch when I want to say, I can't do this. And it's like, I'm no different and no better than anyone else. I have to learn a new skill still. And then now, and so part of it was finally shock, gads, all the teachers who yelled at me or, threatened me, if I see you, doing yoga in front of the class, with the class, I'm going to go in there and pull you out of the room. I had a teacher literally tell me that. And it was an Iyengar teacher who I studied with for 2 years closely. And I was like, you're right. I will never, demonstrate a little bit, but never do the class with them. Now, with some things, I'm actually doing the class because that's what this, and so I had to build this whole capacity to talk and do, which is hard, especially when you're over 29 years old. And then also the ability to stare at a computer screen is different than doing it, is different. And so it's like, I'm laughing at myself and all of us yoga teachers who are saying we can't do it. So that's answer one. I have two answers to you. Because it's like, how are we're no better than anyone else who has to adapt and work with change. And we are doing it. And the very people I know who said teacher training can't happen online, it's happening. And they are learning to rock it. The other thing that I'm really, when people are saying it can't happen, especially yoga teachers, I'm like, but in a way, we're back to what the sages were doing. The ancient sages who, nobody learned yoga, they received this yoga information. And the most ancient yoga scriptures, called the Vedas, are also, from what I understand, they're the most ancient written scripture in the world. How these Vedas came, they came before they were written. And what we have been taught and what we understand is nobody learned them or thought them up. They're known as, they were received. by a higher energy. And that was by being open, by being still, and certainly not checking your cell phone. Well, what we're doing now is connecting in the ether. And so when people are like, I can't do this, I need to see someone, it's like, don't hang on to the Anamaya Kosha. Don't hang on to just the physical. That these sages actually did a lot of telepathic work from one cave to the other. And the Tantra that you and I learned isn't the take your clothes off and do crazy sex Tantra, because that's actually not Tantra. That's a bastardization of something. But it's the capacity to harness your energy. I mentioned the Pranayama earlier, to harness energy from that rides on your breath. And there are specific techniques you and I were taught where we build it into a ball, and these masters to this day build it and send energy out, healing energy, to help the world. And they're doing this now. And some of our teachers are currently doing this. Some of our colleagues who are quietly mastering this are doing this. So I'm like, guys, we're at a higher advanced level. Let's step up to it. So even as I'm talking to you, I'm sending energy to anyone who bothers to listen now or later. And I really do feel it's magical if we choose. So it's all a matter of perspective. And when we hit a frustration, the human nature says, I don't want to, it's hard. And some of us who've been teaching for a long time, we want it to be easy now. We did the work, and nature's saying, I'm sorry. Just because you've been around a lot doesn't mean you don't have to grow too. So we're growing.
You just said like 20 different great things that we can go on and on about, but
okay.
I love it. The last thing you just said, I'm going to just start from there. That's right. I agree with you. This is an opportunity for growth. Yeah. And whatever that means to each individual, to each family, to each larger group, to each collective of people, massive opportunity. Before we went live, you and I talked about actually what a blessing it is to kind of be forced or encouraged to stay still. So Jeanne literally travels the world teaching yoga and has for a while. And it has been an opportunity to just cool our jets. Yeah. Physically be still as an opportunity to internally be still. So I'm glad to say also that I heard you say that you're hopeful for the future. That's nice too. Because you are a teacher, actually, and there's a lot of the population watching and listening to this. Okay. Can you give advice on an access point for people to start this internal examination?
Can you ask your question in a different way? I'm not exactly sure what you're wanting. Thank you.
If somebody wants to learn about transferring energy and getting to that place of resilience that you talk about, where do they start? How do they start?
Like literally taking a yoga class, I guess. Is that what you're asking? Okay. So I mean, learning how to take a yoga class, come find me, go to my website if you want, or anybody. But look for yoga classes that weave awareness of breath and that are not just about the athletics. Because there's nothing wrong with yoga as an athletics situation. I take some of the classes too. It's fun. But it's not full yoga. The actual word yoga means union. And it's harnessing mind, body, and spirit, mind, breath, and body. And the yoga that's got a great, when there's a great playlist and there are a lot of arm balances and there's this and that, and sometimes not even full technique, but the teacher's good, giving you a lot of positive power things, giving you empowerment. That's great, but it's exercise with yoga poses. I'm just going to call it for what it is. And I'm not bashing it. Again, I take some of those too. It's fun. But I don't leave calm. and my nervous system is still fried. And often they don't even teach through Shavasana, and it's Shavasana that actually can guarantee that how we're going to be for the rest of the day, and if we're going to have a good sleep, and if we're going to digest our food properly. So look for a yoga class that weaves breath in some way, or start to look for pranayama practices. And it's like, well, what is all that? Then so then let's just pause. Can you just sit? Let's just do this. Can you just sit right here? Put two hands on your lower belly. And it's like, oh, my belly's gross. It's big. It's lumpy. It's like, that's not all of who you are. Our physical form doesn't define us. And I speak from experience. I have a huge scoliosis. And as I get older, it's going to get worse. I'm getting more and more crooked on camera, which is so much fun. So our body doesn't define us. Just put your hands on your belly, because this is where your main energy center dwells. And just allow an inhale to go here through the nose, and an exhale to come from here. And it's like, yeah, I'm getting fat. It's like, that's just air. Air has no calories. And do it again. And really move your breath in the belly and feel the hands move out and the hands come back. And just like, if we could, for 1 to 2 minutes, once a day, then twice or 3 times a day, just sit with that. And eventually, at some point, the point is, when the mind is busy, all the energy is up here. Our higher wisdom dwells in our belly and our gut. And, science has now proven that to be true, that there is a belly brain, a gut brain, and all the different, there's books about it. You guys know more than I. So bringing your energy down, just feeling, we're not feeling enough. And when we feel something, we're so uncomfortable with it, we react instead of allowing ourselves to feel more. And one of my teachers, Sally Kempton, she taught this powerful practice years ago about, her thing was just welcome everything. So with your hands on your belly, welcome, big belly. All right, welcome it. Gross belly, flabby belly, welcome it. Next breath. I feel indigestion. I think I'm going to get cancer. I'm going to die. Welcome it. Okay, whatever. Next breath. Welcome. Just welcome. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm scared. Okay, welcome it. When we can start to welcome things and just let them sit, because what happens is, and this is what's really happening now, that people are getting killed. What happened in Portland recently, people lost their temper and they reacted. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Nobody knows exactly what happened. I'm trying to fix my camera. Sorry about that. But it's because we're not, it's like, we should be protesting. There's a way to do it kindly. That's a whole other topic. But can we just sit with, it's not fair, there's injustice, can we welcome it? Because if we can't sit still in this injustice, we can't make change. Mm-hmm. And it happens from the inside out. And that's why when I see the outer world, you asked earlier, what's my outer world? I'm seeing a lot of fear and a lot of anger. And when I do that, I stop reading the headlines. I pull away, and it's like, and this is something you and I were taught. Tantra says we can't change the world. Yes, get out, feed the hungry, help. And we have so much homeless in Los Angeles. It's just so sad, and it hurts. But it's like, I can't go and feed every single person. I don't even have that much food in my own kitchen. And so, but what I can do is, when I change my internal vibration, put the hands back on the belly. And when I can work with this internal vibration does affect the people on the other wall. I have neighbors over here. This internal vibration helps the people, the neighbors across the street that I always see come out on the balcony. I don't know their names. This internal vibration helps. It ripples. If I have a violent vibration, it affects my neighbor's kids. I don't want that. It affects my neighbors across the street. I don't want that. It affects the people who are delivering my packages. I don't want that. I want and it's not bypassing. There's a big thing these days called spiritual bypassing. My term is spiritual utilizing, because it does make a difference. If you walk into a room of someone who's wreathing with anger, you feel it and you want to leave the room. So there is a difference. They don't even have to say anything or do something. When you walk into a room and someone is content or just coping and managing, that helps you, and you feel, oh, maybe I want to do that too. So the more we can just welcome, and those of us who are in physical pain, I did this so many times. I mean, I've had a strong seated meditation practice when my back has been wreathing with pain. And so my time was a little shorter because I just couldn't do it, but I did it. Or there was a time in India, I felt this arm was going to fall off because my shoulder was in so much pain. And it was like, literally, it's going. So I just had to make friends with, well, I've got another arm. People have managed. At least you'll have one arm. Let it go, Lord. It's your arm. But when I surrendered and welcomed it, it does soften the pain. So that's what I'll offer. Hands on belly. And whatever shape your belly is, make friends with it. That's going to be the key from experience of transforming the belly from whatever shape you don't like to something that you want. Did I talk too much?
Oh, never. You never talk too much. We are at time though, but you never talk too much.
You're sweet.
So, yeah, there's information on how to get in touch with Jeanne in her bio. And this is soon, this In Response series is going to be a podcast. So for those of you that are listening, yeah, you want to check out the video as well. I'll have links to that because Jeanne is just effervescent. Seeing her transmits even so much of her energy.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Jeanne. Oh my gosh, so good to see you.
So lovely. Oh, yeah. Heart. Look at you making hearts.
I know. Jeanne and I have plans to hang out after this. Oh, thanks.
Yes, absolutely. It's such an honor to connect with you, Mia. And thank you, anyone who's listening. It's an honor. And let's all just make a promise to ourselves that at least once later today or tonight, hands on belly and breathe 1 minute. It's scary.
Well, pinky promise. For those that are not, comfortable, just do it. Pinky promise. Thanks for watching, everybody. Yeah. This has been Interviews with Intriguing Internalizers. I'm Mia Park. And if you're interested in supporting this interview series that is online and soon to be podcast, you can become my patron at patreon.com/Mia Park. And take care, everyone. Thanks, Jeanne. Mwah.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.